Every year, millions of products go up on Amazon and most of them fail. Not because the seller was lazy, not because they didn't do the work. They fail because they all follow the exact same formula. You find a product that a bunch of people seem to be selling well, you go to Alibaba, you find the same version, and then you run the numbers and see that it's profitable, and you ship it straight into Amazon. And that right there, that product already failed before it even launched, the moment you decided to sell the same thing as everyone else. So today I'm going to show you exactly why that happens, the trap that almost every new seller walks straight into, as well as the fix. I call it super selling points. And I'm going to show you how I let AI read thousands of your competitors' reviews and hand you the exact improvements that you need to make in about 2 minutes. Let's get into it. So let's talk about what's actually going wrong, because this is the most common way that new sellers lose money. And it feels like the safe move the entire time. Here's how it usually goes. You find a market that's clearly working. It's got good sales, lots of sellers eating. So you find that exact same product on Alibaba and the margins look great. And then you grab some simple photos and you just sort of throw it up on Amazon and it just sits there. So you do the only thing that you've got left, you drop your price, because that's what everyone else in the market is doing too. And now you're in a race to the bottom that you simply can't win. This is what I call a Me Too product. You launch the same thing as everyone else with no real edge. And here's the problem with that. When every listing on the page basically looks identical, there's only one lever left to pull, and that is price. And that's how a whole market quietly turns into a price war. Margins shrink for everybody, and nobody builds a real brand, nobody actually wins. Because here's what most sellers completely miss. On Amazon, customers never actually buy the product, they buy the offer. They line the listings up side by side and they choose the one that looks clearer, stronger, and more valuable. That's the one that wins every single time. So the real question isn't how do I sell this product? It's how do I build a better offer than everyone else on the page? And that's exactly what super selling points are for. So let me give you the fix. The way out of the Me Too trap is what I call super selling points, or SSPs. It's how you turn a Me Too product into a Me Only product, the obvious choice on the page. An SSP is just a real meaningful improvement to your offer, and it does two jobs. One, it fixes the things that customers are already frustrated about with the products that are out there right now. And two, it adds something that they never even thought to ask for, the kind of change that your competitors can't easily copy and can't quickly react to. And the gold mine for this stuff is just sitting in plain sight. It's your competitors' reviews. Every complaint, every I wish it had, every 1-star rant, that's your customers telling you exactly how to beat the products that they already bought. Now here's the catch. Doing it right means reading hundreds or thousands of reviews across dozens of listings. So it's slow, it's tedious, and you're never totally sure that you've caught everything. So we're gonna bring AI into the loop. Later in this video, I'll show you the offering page inside of BloomEngine. It's where you take one product that you already vetted, click one button, and it pulls the insights from your top competitors and hands you real product improvement ideas in about 2 minutes. But first, you need to know exactly what you're looking for. So let me walk you through the different kinds of super selling points, or SSPs. There are 5 in total. The first 2 are your warm-up, simple, lower impact, but they get your brain working the right way. And the next 3, that's where you actually win. The first one is quantity. This is adjusting how many units come in a pack. But here's the rule, and it's kind of the whole thing. A quantity change only works when the customer actually needs more than one. Something like screen protectors, people expect a 2-pack or a 4-pack. They scratch, they break, or microfiber cloths. A bigger pack just makes sense for those things. But a 2-pack of hot tub covers or a 2-pack of kitchen islands, nobody on earth wants that. So the signal lives in the reviews. If people are saying, I bought a second one, or I wish it came with more, that's your green light. And if they never say it, skip it, move on. The second is aesthetic. These are visual upgrades. So this could be modern colors, updated designs, or premium patterns. They don't change how the product works, they just change how it feels. And on Amazon, where people are making decisions in seconds, off a thumbnail, that's how you win the click. Think silicone kitchen tools in like a sage green or a cream or charcoal, instead of those loud neon colors that nobody wants on their counter anymore. Now, aesthetics are subjective. Not every buyer cares. So this one is the strongest when the niche is decor or lifestyle, and the competitors look dated or cheap, and the reviews are actually talking about how things look. All right, those are the 2 warm-ups. So here's where it gets real. Third SSP is functional, and this is the most powerful SSP there is, because a functional change improves how the product actually does its job. It's pure problem solving. You want to find the number one complaint in the market and you fix it. Let me give you an easy example. A silicone baby plate where every other review says the same thing, that it won't stick to the table. So you add suction cups to it and that's it. That improved version takes over the market. Or a collapsible laundry basket that everyone says caves in on itself, you add a simple support ring to it, problem gone. Now there's two flavors of this. A minor change uses the existing mold, so it's cheap, it's fast, it's super low risk. A major change redesigns the whole product. It costs more, but it's a lot harder for your competitors to copy, and sometimes you can even patent it. But the principle's the same. Find the number one complaint and solve it. Now you've got the best version of that product in the market. The fourth is quality. If functional fixes the experience, quality fixes the longevity. And here's the opportunity. Most sellers cut corners. Thin materials, weak zippers, cheap coatings. So you come in and you do the opposite. Thicker material, double stitching, metal instead of plastic, proper YKK grade zippers. You'll know it's a quality play when the reviews are full of words like cheap, broke, tore, fell apart, because customers will always happily pay more for a product that doesn't break. And this is honestly one of the easiest upgrades for a supplier to make. And the fifth is bundling. Now, this is not the same thing as quantity. Quantity is more of the same item. Bundling is adding small complementary pieces that support the main product. So this could be a garlic press that comes with a little silicone peeler and a cleaning brush, or yoga blocks that come with a stretching strap. But the main rule here is relevance, not volume. A good bundle adds the missing piece and it fits in the existing packaging and it doesn't blow up your Amazon fees. Don't just cram random stuff in there to look generous. That's gonna backfire. The customer should look at it and think, that makes sense, that solves my problem. All right, so those are the five: quantity, aesthetic, functional, quality, and bundling. Now, figuring out which ones actually apply to your product means going back into those customer reviews and finding the patterns. Now, you can do that by hand, or you can let AI do it in about 2 minutes. Let me show you the offering page on BloomEngine. Alrighty, so we are back on BloomEngine and we're looking at the vetting page, which shows on the main dashboard here all of the vetted markets that we've created here inside of BloomEngine. So if you recall, we created this 2-pack 3-tier cupcake stand market in the last video. So I'm gonna go ahead and open up this product on BloomEngine here by clicking into it so we can pull up the results that we got on the previous video. Now, if you didn't see that video, go back and watch the video on how we created this market and how we analyze the vetting results that come back, giving us this score on whether we should move forward with this particular market or not. But as you can see, this one passed, so now the goal is to take it to the offering stage. So we're gonna come up to the top and we're gonna go over here to the build offering stage, which is the next part of the research funnel process inside of BloomEngine. So we're gonna go build offering, and that's going to take us to the next stage of the funnel, which is the offering stage. And we are on the customer voice tab. Now, as you can see, there's one button we need to click, and that's decode customer voice. So right now what's happening, it's reading and clustering themes. It's pulling in a lot of different insights from the top 5 competitors in your particular market. So what's so cool about this? It saves you from having to go in and manually review so many different customer insights, and it can actually save you a ton of time, as you'll see, because it does take, let's say, 30 seconds to a minute, maybe a minute and a half if there's a lot of reviews. But what you actually get to do is see a lot more insights in a fraction of the time, which is really exciting. Alrighty, and as you can see, it comes right back. It analyzed a total of 62 reviews, and by and large, they are positive. So what it says here in the market verdict is, I'm just gonna zoom in a little bit here. Customers broadly love these cupcake stands for their easy tool-free assembly, attractive rustic wood aesthetic, and strong value for money at events like weddings, baby showers, and graduation parties. The core promise lands well. What frustrates buyers the most is a cluster of trust and reliability issues, material descriptions that imply solid wood but deliver MDF or laminate, sporadic structural instability on loaded tiers, and inconsistent hardware quality that occasionally produces slanted shelves or difficult screws. A seller willing to invest in an honest material transparency, tighter factory QA, and fewer listing level clarifications like pole position, true capacity by cupcake size, or food safe surface certification could confidently capture the significant share of buyers who are enthusiastic about the concept but are left uneasy by the execution gaps in current offerings. Wow. So that is super detailed in terms of all the different stuff that's coming back from these customers, all these different insights, right? So when you come down here, it'll show you the top praise themes, but also the major complaints, which is what we're here for. Now, they're going to be sorted by severity, which is super helpful because you can see the biggest complaint is the structural instability and tipping, okay? Several customers reported that the stands tilt, lean, or tip over when loaded, particularly on upper tiers with heavier items. The round tray design and lack of locking screws or indexing points means trays can rotate frequently and shift, making the stand feel structurally unreliable for anything beyond very light desserts. So the opportunity here is, and it's telling you right here, customers lack a stand that stays reliably level and locked in position under the weight of standard cupcakes and party desserts. So they either load conservatively or they risk a collapsed display at an event. That would not be good. So it'll actually pull in exact quotes here as well from the customer insights. These are not structurally sound at all. Anything you try to place on them will tilt over and start to lean. Each layer is super bendy. These trays can rotate slightly even when fully tightened because there's no locking screws or indexing points. So this is super helpful. So that first one broken out there, and then you can see these other ones as well. Material authenticity and food safety concerns, screw and hole alignment quality issues. All this sort of stuff is very, very helpful, right? So what we can do now, once we have these customer insights, is we want to take it to the actual offer building stage. Well, how do we do that? We're going to come down here and we're going to go to the super selling points and we're going to generate our SSPs with AI. So I'm going to go ahead and click this button. And as you can see, it's pulling in all these different insights and crafting our super selling points. And this will take maybe 30 seconds to a minute, just like above, because it has a lot of information to go through. But what is so awesome about this, as we'll see in a second, is the level of detail it will go into about the different ideas that you can then refine, you can take to your supplier, and just really have a plan for when you come into the market and want to dominate with an offer that really just doesn't exist yet. So that's the goal. Okay, so it just loaded up now. So what we're going to go over is the different type of SSP suggestions that it came up with. So functionality changes: mold a shallow lip or raised rim around each tray edge to keep cupcakes from sliding. About 10% of reviewers noticed that the items slide on the tray surface, reducing confidence in the stand for heavier or frosted cupcakes. Adding a 6 to 8 millimeter molded raised rim around the outer perimeter of each tray, integrating into the tray mold, acts as a physical retainer from the cupcakes and other round items. This is a mold modification only and adds no measurable weight and requires no hardware change. So that's super interesting. It gives a lot of detail. And we have the ability to ask AI a question on this if we wanted, but let's see what else we have in terms of SSPs before we do that. Quality change: switch to precision drilled CNC hole templates and nylock style insert nuts to eliminate crooked holes and loose screws. So this is highly technical, right? This is kind of what we want because, as you know, the next stage is going to the sourcing phase, talking to suppliers, where you want to come prepared with all of these details and be specific about what you actually need. Crooked pole holes, slanted shelves, and screws that won't tighten affect roughly 10% of units and generate disproportionate returns for event planners who discover the defect the day before use. Specifying CNC drilled pilot holes with a positional tolerance of plus minus 0.5 millimeters and replacing standard wood screws with machine screws threading into brass or nylock insert nuts pre-pressed into the MDF at the factory. Okay, So this is obviously highly technical, and if you're like me, you know nothing about this stuff, right? So this is a perfect opportunity to ask AI a question, create a short Amazon bullet point that explains this feature in plain English that will help the user really understand the benefit of this particular feature. All right, send to AI. Let's see what that comes back with. All right, arrives level, stays level. Precision drilled holes and locking insert nuts mean every shelf sits perfectly flat right out of the box, with screws that tighten fully and stay tight so your display never leans or wobbles mid-event. Boom. That is super helpful because then now we can feel confident that we can actually explain this to people when they're giving us super technical details that obviously we want when we go to the supplier, but it's also marketable as well. So I'm going to go ahead and save that note. Now let's come down and look at the remaining SSPs. Add tray locking index pins at each tier junction to stop rotation and tipping. Include a small drawstring cloth storage bag to keep hardware screws and pulls organized between uses. Wow, so as you can see, it pulls in a lot of really cool ideas that you can then take to the supplier to have a real edge in the market when you come in with something that really just doesn't exist yet, right? And answering all of these key issues that customers were complaining about from all those different reviews that got pulled in with the click of a button. And that is the BloomEngine offering page. All right, so that is the power of BloomEngine. Now let's bring it all home. A Me Too product competes on price and loses, and a real offer competes on value and wins. And super selling points are how you get from one to the other. You're not shipping in the same thing as everyone else and hoping anymore. You're walking into the market with a product that answers the exact complaints that customers have been leaving on your competitors' listings for years. That's an offer that people choose on site. Alrighty guys, if this changed how you think about launching a product, do me a favor and hit like. It genuinely helps the channel get in front of more new sellers like yourself, and subscribe so you can catch the next one. And if you want to build your offer right alongside me and a room full of sellers who are doing the exact same thing right now, then come join us in the school community. The link for that is in the description below. All right, I will see you in the next one.